Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. Want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a very big lineup of news to brief you all on today. Today's date is August 4th, 2025, and it's Monday. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Hope you enjoyed your weekend as well. Lots of news to cover with this update. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. We're going to start out with a major report out of the Crimean Peninsula overnight as Ukraine's SBU is claiming a major drone attack on the Saky Airbase located in southeastern side of the Crimean Peninsula. So let's start out with this report here on your screen. Ukraine's SBU claims drone attack on Saky airfield, Crimea, 5 jets struck. Ukraine Security Service drones hit 5 Russian fighter jets at the Saky airfield. 1 aircraft was completely destroyed. An aviation munitions depot was also struck on the airfield. So this is kind of a little map to show you guys exactly where the Saky airbase is located at. And this is an airbase that Ukraine has attacked numerous times before, and their SBU, also known as their security service, claiming a major attack with drones overnight. And again, 5 Russian fighter jets allegedly struck at this airfield. I've got a report I can share with you guys today. We'll talk about that. Unfortunately, no video footage or pictures coming out from this airfield overnight, but we do have some very solid information to show you regarding that. We also have information today that Ukrainian drones also struck another Russian railway station in the Volgograd region. Damage and fires have been reported in that area. This is something that Ukraine's been doing a lot over the last week, with striking Russian railway stations located in the Rostov regions and also the Volgograd region of Russia. What they're trying to do there is stop Russian logistics from flowing into their territory. We also have a story today that a refueling station of the Sochi International Airport was also struck overnight and caught fire in the Adler district of Russia's Krasnodar Krai region. And this is the same airport that has been coming under attack a lot over the last few weeks, and actually just over the weekend from Saturday night going into Sunday morning. The Ukrainians attacked this same airport, and there's like an oil depot pretty much located right by that airport. They struck it and allegedly destroyed 1 or 2 oil tanks over there. So that's the second time they attacked it in the last couple days. We'll talk about that report today as well. So I want to get right into this. There's lots to cover, and this is going to be a major week. We have a lot of information coming out from this war. And also by the end of the week on Friday, we should be seeing if U.S. President Donald Trump is going to slam Russia and its trading partners with sanctions or tariffs. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go ahead and jump into this, guys. Let's hop into a mainstream news report real quick. This is with the Kiev Independent. It says 5 Russian fighter jets hit by Ukraine's SBU in drone operation in occupied Crimea. 1 destroyed. This is coming out today on August 4, 2025. Here's a picture of a Russian Su-24. This is allegedly one of the aircraft that could have been hit or destroyed overnight. And it says right here, drones operated by Ukraine's security service, also known as the SBU, struck 5 Russian fighter jets overnight on August 4th at an airfield in Saky, a city in Russian-occupied Crimea, the agency said. Ukrainian drones in a special operations center, mission destroyed an Su-30SM aircraft, damaged another, hit 3 Su-24s, and struck an aviation weapons depot. The Saky Air Base plays a critical role in Russia's military operations in the Black Sea, and the damage from the Ukrainian strike is considered significant, with a single Su-30SM jet valued between $35 million and $50 million, according to the SBU. And it says, quote, the successful special operation carried out by the SBU in Saky marks another step toward weakening the enemy's capacity to wage this war of aggression against Ukraine, SBU said. Kyiv Independent could not independently verify these claims. Russia has not officially commented on the reported strikes. Okay, so not a whole lot of information on this yet. It's mainly just a statement from the SBU claiming that they struck this airfield today. So again, it says here, we had a destroyed Su-30SM that was directly hit, and it's gone, and damaged another one, and also 3 Su-24s were also hit. Okay, we have been seeing a lot of glide bomb attacks in the southern side of the country of Ukraine, and this is probably why Ukraine was carrying out this attack overnight onto this airfield. And I do have some reports to go over today talking about a bridge down in the city of Kersonen that has been coming under attack for the last 2-3 days the Russians have been trying to destroy it, which is cutting off a settlement of people that are living on one of the islands down there, or peninsula, located right next to the city of Kersonen. So we'll talk about that today as well. I've got video footage of strikes on that bridge. That's probably also why Ukraine is carrying out this attack onto Crimea, especially with this airbase up Saky. So let's go ahead and jump over to X now. I've got numerous things to share with you over here. Let's hop on over here to Max 25. Here we go again, map from Drone Bomber. Okay, so this is a map that was coming out yesterday evening from Drone Bomber on Telegram, indicating the trajectory of Ukrainian drones, where they were going at into Russian territory. You can see a lot of them heading down here to the southeastern side of the Crimean Peninsula, which is where the Saky airfield was located. We've got another batch heading down here to Krasnodar Krai, which is where we have this fueling station at the Sochi International Airport, which is going to be just south of Novorossiysk, if you guys can see here on the map. Probably going to be cut off. It's further down south here in the Krasnodar Krai region, right on the coastline. And we had that fueling station that was hit by Ukrainian drones overnight as well. Then you can see also we've got drones that are crossing through Rostov Oblast, heading on over to the Volgograd Oblast, where we had this other railway station that came under attack. And then there was some explosions, reports of explosions in the Voronezh Oblast overnight. I'm not sure exactly what was attacked over there, but you can see lots of drones heading up into different regions up here. But unfortunately today, no evidence of any strikes heading up in this direction closer to Moscow or any of these other regions over here. But if I get more information, we'll do another video on that at a later time. Now let's move on to Igor Sushko. Russia, Archeta railway junction struck by Ukrainian drones in Frolovo, Volgograd region. Ukraine has now struck about a dozen such rail hubs. Can you believe that? A dozen of these railway stations being attacked just over the last week. It literally started like, what, Sunday or Monday of last week, and this has been ongoing, pretty much almost a nightly thing. And yeah, this railway station, again, another one, coming under attack by Ukrainian drones in Frolovo, Volgograd region. This is kind of like a little snapshot or aerial view of what this railway station looks like. And we did have some damages over here. Here's some video now from More Translated. Drones attacked the Archeta railway station in the city of Frolovo, Volgograd region, Russia. One of the drones fell into the tracks but did not explode. A technical building caught fire, and at least 5 trains have been delayed. The Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that their air defense allegedly shot down 61 drones. Okay, so a lot of drones going into this area if they're claiming they shot down 61 alone in the Volgograd region. So take a look at this video footage, about 49 seconds long.
Дежурка, железнодорожную дежурку, короче, где магазин хороший, напротив ЦДТ, короче, въебало.
Станции, я говорю, вот мне можно говорить, Котельниково, Октябрьский, они называют станции. И тут же он мне говорит, мне Коля говорит, идут, говорит, взорвали всех, осталось, говорит, Арчеда, Сибиряков, 2 станции. Пожалуйста.
So you can see right at the end of this video, this woman that was speaking Russian was talking about how numerous stations were being blown up. And I did not hear of any other railway stations being attacked, but it is possible. In this video right here, looks like some sort of general store was attacked right next to the railway station as well. I'm not sure if that was the actual target, or maybe this Ukrainian drone was suppressed by electronic warfare, or maybe shot down and crashed. But we did have a building that caught on fire right there at the station as well, and I do have better video footage of that. Here's a video coming out now from Igor Sushko, Russia, railway junction in Frolovo, Volgograd region. We got a massive fire that broke out to what looks like on the train tracks over here, and right next to more fuel tanks. And this is something that Ukraine's been doing a lot as well. They've destroyed numerous of these fuel tanks just sitting at some of these stations located inside the Volgograd and Rostov Oblast. And yeah, massive fire here. Not sure if we had more fuel tanks that caught fire, but definitely a huge fire right next to some of them located here. Now from LX Summer 1, good morning, sunshines. Enjoy your coffee and let's go. Volgograd region, Russia. Last night around 2:50 a.m., the Archeta station of the city of Frolovo caught fire after a drone attack. Train traffic suspended due to falling UAV debris. Yeah, I heard at least 5 trains were being suspended, trying to travel through this train station located again in the Volgograd region of Russia overnight. We got a building here that caught fire. I think this could be that same shop that we saw in the video earlier, as we had a fire breaking out on a building and allegedly located very close to this train station is where this building caught fire. All right, now let's move on to another one from Max 25. AFU successfully struck the fuel and refueling base of the Sochi airport, according to Ukraine's general staff. It is known that the military aviation of the Russian invaders was also located at the airport. So here's a picture confirming the strike overnight. It looks like we had a massive explosion potentially on this refueling base or refueling station of the Sochi International Airport. Again, it's located in the district of Adler, which is a little bit just south of the city of Sochi itself, but still considered the city of Sochi. And yeah, this international airport has been attacked numerous times, and we've seen major explosions at one of the fuel depots that are located right next to the airport. We just talked about this no more than 2 weeks ago. And like I said, last night as well, or the night before, going from Saturday into Sunday, for many of us, we also had this fuel depot right next to the airport that was attacked. And looks like now we had this fuel and refueling base of the Sochi airport being attacked last night now too. And we do know that this Sochi International Airport is used for dual purposes. It's used for civilian aircraft and also for military purposes. So Ukraine's been really trying to knock out this airport with all these hits to this fuel depot and refueling station. So major hits overnight. All right, now from Astro, we've got some video footage here of this strike. Ukrainian General Staff says Army aviation is stationed at the territory of the Sochi Civilian International Airport. Report successful strike on the airport's fuel facility. It says, quote, yesterday the UAV forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in coordination with other Defense Forces units, hit the fuel and refueling facility of Sochi Airport in Krasnodar Krai. A large fire broke out at the site. It is known that Russian occupiers' Army's aviation was also stationed at the airfield, the official statement said. So yeah, again, this is why they strike this airfield over here and targeting the fuel and oil depot located right next to this international airport. We can see a massive fire here on this refueling station that has been hit overnight by Ukrainian drones, and it looks like somebody sitting on an aircraft that probably just landed there was able to capture this major fire here. So huge hit. Ukraine's trying to knock out the aircrafts that are located over here that are used to launch strikes repeatedly on Ukraine. Huge hit for Ukrainian forces overnight. All right, now for Max 25. On August 2nd, 2025, AFU conducted a precision strike against Russian military targets in the temporarily occupied territory of Zaporizhzhia region. As a result of the operation, Ukrainian long-range fire assets destroyed a Russian S-300 air defense missile system. Okay, this is going to be an occupied Zaporizhzhia region down in southern Ukraine. We had reports today that 2 days ago, Ukraine conducted a precision strike, knocking out and destroying a Russian S-300 air defense system. And these things are very expensive. We've been reporting a lot of these air defense systems that have been destroyed. Yet again, another one here, in this case, an S-300 located in southern Ukraine in the Zaporizhzhia region in occupied territory. Now from Visioner in Belgorod, Ukrainian forces struck a Russian military vehicle with an FPV drone. Okay, so I can't completely verify when this video was recorded, but it was released today from Visioner on August 4th. You can see here 2025. And I wanted to show you guys this video on how destructive these FPV drones are just simply against a Russian military vehicle. And this is probably an armored vehicle as well. Yeah, I just want to show you how destructive these are, because this is the reason why, or at least a large reason why, the Russians are not advancing very quickly on the battlefield is due to these FPV drones. So take a look at this, 10 seconds.
Уходи, блядь! Ой-ой-ой-ой-ой! Уходи, блядь!
All right, so that explains why the U.S. and Ukraine are going to be doing a major drone deal here very soon, which has not been announced yet, of them confirming and signing of any deal. But we know the U.S. wants to pick up a lot of drones from Ukraine, probably aerial attack drones and these FPV drones as well. So you can see how devastating these are just simply to a Russian military vehicle. So yeah, that's the reason why Ukraine's doing such a good job right now holding the Russian forces back. Now from Ukrainian Review. Russians strike Odessa region with drones. Radio market, the flames destroyed dozens of pavilions with electronics and appliances. A fire in the closed dormitory was extinguished. Private house was damaged. Okay, we had more civilian infrastructure inside of Ukraine being targeted overnight. I think there was somewhere around 160 drones coming from the Russians targeting Ukraine, and we did have some strikes. Unfortunately, a dormitory here that caught on fire, and there's another picture of it there just before the firefighters showed up to put out that blaze. And we've got more damage here to more buildings inside of the Odessa region. This is going to be in southern Ukraine, and we've seen Odessa attacked quite a bit over the past year or so, and has been targeted again yet overnight by Russian drones. Now from next to Putin ready to meet Zalinsky after preparatory work at expert level, says Peskov today. Okay, this is Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, and that's what he stated today, that allegedly Putin is ready to meet Zalinsky. And I'm actually very surprised because for months now, it seems like Putin's really been trying to avoid a direct meeting with Zalinsky. If you guys remember, just not too long ago, about a month or two back, when Zalinsky was going to meet Putin down in Istanbul, Putin actually decided not to go, and he sent like a low-level delegation. That's when a lot of these talks started between Ukraine and Russia in Istanbul and Turkey. So let's see what happens here. We have been hearing a lot that the Russians could be setting up a meeting between Putin and Zalinsky here soon. They've actually been kind of calling for it in some ways, so we'll see if that happens. But apparently, according to Peskov today, he's stating that there could be a meeting here very soon after some preparatory work at an expert level. Now from Anton Gerashenko, Peskov reacted to Medvedev's statements. He said, no one should care what Medvedev says. Yeah, I want you guys to see this. It's not going to be in English, but there will be subtitles. Dmitry Peskov kind of commenting on Dmitry Medvedev's statements recently, calling for nuclear war, calling for war between the United States, threatening Donald Trump, when it comes to this whole ultimatum, trying to end this war by this Friday on August 8th. So they're planning to slam Russia with sanctions, tariffs, possibly even its trading partners. We've been talking a lot about Dmitry Medvedev, so take a look at what Peskov has to say about Medvedev here today.
Скажите, пожалуйста, а вот Кремль не пытался предупредить Медведева о том, чтобы он немножко снизил конфронтационный тон онлайн?
Слушайте, в каждой стране члены руководства страны имеют разные точки зрения, рабочие, на происходящее событие, имеют разный настрой. Есть люди весьма жестко настроенные в Соединенных Штатах Америки, в европейских странах. Поэтому так бывает всегда. Да, но я скажу, но главное, конечно, это позиция президента Путина. Вы знаете, что в нашей стране внешнюю политику формулирует глава государства, то есть президент Путин.
Скажите, пожалуйста.
Okay, so we can see here from Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesman, basically just stating, don't pay attention to what Medvedev says, just follow what Vladimir Putin's saying. If Putin's not stating these types of things, just ignore Medvedev. So kind of just covering up for him, but Medvedev has been making some very serious statements recently, talking about nuclear war, calling for war with the United States. I mean, he's just been making some very serious statements recently. And on top of that, Trump, the U.S. president, deployed two of these nuclear submarines actually closer to Russia just late last week due to some of the threats from Medvedev, and he actually confirmed that again today. He was speaking to reporters and told them that yes, two of them have been deployed closer to Russia. So obviously Trump not joking around when it comes to statements like that is very serious, and that's what Medvedev had to say today. So very interesting. Now from Ukrainian Review, Ukraine hacked Russia's newest nuclear submarine, Nyaz Pozarsky, if I'm saying that correctly, threatening the Kremlin's strategic position in the region, according to the Times. Nyaz Pozarsky submarine, which entered service in late July, is a nuclear submarine and a key element of Moscow's nuclear triad. The hack reveals not only the weaknesses of the submarine itself, but also of Russia's entire Arctic fleet, the Bory class, which carries nuclear missiles in the depths of the Arctic Ocean. The stolen files contain full crew lists, operation schedules, reports on survival systems, and weapon vulnerabilities. Okay, so we had a massive hack by Ukraine onto Russia's newest nuclear submarine, Nyaz Pozarsky. So that's huge. We've been hearing so many reports recently of nuclear systems, companies connected to nuclear programs that have been hacked even within the West. It happened inside the United States with a major Microsoft loophole that was accessed by some, apparently was considered Chinese hackers. We also heard this coming out from France just like a week or two ago as well. Their nuclear program was being hacked also. Now we're seeing this with Russia. So looks like Ukraine carried out some sort of major hack. If we get more information on that, I'll let you guys know. But they're claiming here stolen files containing full crew lists, operation schedules, and reports on survival systems and weapons vulnerabilities. So apparently they got some pretty important information off of the hack on this nuclear submarine today. Now from Yurganana, despite Trump's threat of tariffs, China will continue to buy oil from Russia and Iran, according to the Chinese Foreign Ministry. All right, so this is big news. We've been waiting to hear from this. What is China going to do? They're stating that they're going to continue buying oil from Russia and Iran, despite the threat of tariffs coming from U.S. President Donald Trump. So it seems like this week, what we're going to see is India and China for sure are going to get hit with these tariffs as they choose to continue purchasing sanctioned Russian oil. All right, so expect that to be coming. And I got several reports regarding China and India today. Here's one regarding India. Noel reports India's largest oil refiner, Indian Oil Corporation, has urgently purchased 7 million barrels of U.S. crude for September delivery, according to Reuters. The move comes as India reduces Russian oil imports amid sanctions and geopolitical pressure. Here's the report today on Reuters. India's IOC buys 7 million barrels of U.S. Mideast crude oil after Russian oil pause. And this just coming out today, August 4th, 2025. Okay, so this is interesting. We're seeing a back and forth situation here in India. Is India stopping the purchase of Russian oil, or are they still purchasing it? What's going on here? It's really going back and forth over the last week. But yeah, apparently this company, the largest refiner, Indian Oil Corporation, bought 7 million barrels of U.S. and Middle Eastern crude oil after this pause on buying Russian oil. So I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to wait to see what happens by the end of the week. Take this with a grain of salt for right now, because we keep seeing just back and forth. In 1 minute they're buying, next minute they're not. So yeah, don't really know what's going on here, but Reuters has been kind of showing different sides of the story throughout the last week. So very interesting. All right, now for Max 25, we've got a post here from Trump on Truth Social, also talking about India today. And take a look at this. India is not only buying massive amounts of Russian oil, they're then, for much of the oil purchase, selling it on the open market for big profits. They don't care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by the Russian war machine. Because of this, I will be substantially raising the tariff paid by India to the USA. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Wow, that's huge. So yeah, that looks like we're getting confirmation already that India for sure by the end of the week is going to be hit by some pretty steep tariffs. Not sure exactly what the number is going to be. Could be anywhere from 100 to 500%, really. But right now we heard that Trump had raised India's tariff, I think, up to 25%. Plus, they're getting hit by a penalty right now for purchasing Russian oil. Now, by the end of the week, it's going to be raised even further. So let's see how that goes. But yeah, we've got confirmation India will be hit by these tariffs by the end of the week. And I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with China next. Now for next, Russia restoring Donetsk airport to launch Shaheds at Ukraine, according to the Institute for the Study of War. Satellite images of the airport taken in July show active construction work. The airport is located about 35 kilometers from the nearest frontline area. If the Russians start launching drones from there, Ukraine's air defense will have less time to respond. Yeah, not good news, but we've got this kind of like satellite imagery going back and forth, showing the different areas that have been under construction here. You can see they've constructed some sort of buildings or warehouse. Looks like maybe even an oil depot. It's really hard to see right there. That could have been constructed. We've got some buildings over here in this area that have been constructed as well, and they've done some renewal work here on the runway. So yeah, allegedly the Russians could be upgrading this airport here to get ready to start launching Shahed drones to the Ukrainians, and this is so close to the front line. So yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Ukraine to respond to these attacks, considering that these drones can be right within Ukrainian cities, probably within a matter of minutes, maybe 30 minutes or less, right after they're being launched. So it's going to be harder for them to detect them and shoot them down. So not good news coming out from the Donetsk region of Ukraine. This is an occupied territory in southeastern Ukraine by the Russians with this Donetsk airport. Okay, so that's very bad news for the Ukrainians. Now for Max 25, soon Shahed will be able to destroy everything up to the 5th floor if it strikes on a high-rise building. The Russians will increase the Warhead from 50 kilograms to 80 to 90 kilograms. Commander of the reconnaissance unit of the AFU Yaroslavsky. Not good news also coming out from Ukraine today. We've been hearing the Russians are really starting to upgrade these Shahed drones. We're hearing that eventually, some point here in the near future, the Russians could be transitioning over to rocket-propelled drones versus using the propeller-driven ones that are much slower, easier to shoot down. And then on top of that, now we're hearing they're going to be increasing the size of the warhead from 50 kilograms to 80 to 90 kilograms, so almost doubling the entire size of this warhead, meaning we're going to have more people injured and killed in these strikes inside of Ukraine. They're going to become more deadly, and the Russians are really banking on trying to hammer Ukraine as much as possible with these drones to force Ukraine to sign a capitulation with Russia. So very bad news coming out from Ukraine today, but I want you guys to be aware of that. Now from Visioner, Ukraine wants to take a loan from Poland to purchase Polish weapons, according to Foreign Minister Sibia. The desired loan amount is 120 million euros. With these funds, Ukraine wants to purchase the Manpads Pure Run, if I'm saying that right, and the self-propelled howitzer Crab. Ukraine is also negotiating with Poland regarding several more packages of military aid. So last week, I think it was Friday or Saturday, we had reports from the foreign minister out of Poland, Radoslaw Sikorski. He was saying that there was going to be new aid packages announced for Ukraine here very soon. Now we've got a little bit of details. They're going to be going after some Manpads launchers and also a howitzer, self-propelled howitzer known as the Crab. With this new aid package up to 120 million euros, they're going to be trying to get a loan for that. So that's good news. They'll be getting more weapons from Poland here very soon. Now from next to Russia strikes Kersonen, bridge hit by glide bombs. Preparing for a new offensive, Russian forces have launched a series of strikes on a bridge in Kersonen used to supply Ukrainian troops. The first glide bombs, or FABs, landed yesterday, damaging the structure, and today another wave followed. The full extent of the destruction remains unclear. Amid the attacks, authorities have announced evacuations from several districts of the city. There are also reported disruptions to water and electricity supplies. Heavy strikes on crossings often signal preparations for a larger offensive. Earlier, Western media reported that the Kremlin might step up attacks on multiple fronts. Some suggest that could be a response to Trump's recent ultimatum. Yeah, this was a newer video, just started to come out yesterday, on Sunday actually, showing new strikes on this bridge. And look at these other areas, major fires over here. These are guided bombs, or glide bombs actually, that were striking this bridge. And we had a video yesterday that came out showing a Fab 3000 allegedly striking it. There was a huge hole in the bridge. I actually put out a short on one of those videos, I think it was on Saturday, showing a strike on that bridge. So the Russians really trying to knock out this bridge right now down in the city of Kherson in southern Ukraine. And we've been hearing that the Russians are preparing for like an amphibious assault down here with boats, trying to cross the Dnipro River so they can get into the city of Kherson. That was the newer video there. This was the older one that came out on August 2nd. Okay, so 2 days ago on Saturday, this was the original hit. And allegedly was a Fab 3000 that directly struck this bridge. I mean, look at the size of that explosion. And the Ukrainians were actually lucky. Right after this bomb had hit the bridge, it actually did not completely destroy it. It put a hole in it, but it was actually still drivable. I'm not sure if it is now, considering it's been attacked even further over the weekend. So if I get more information on this bridge, I'll let you guys know. But the Russians are really trying to knock it out right now. Now for Bliskovka, Trump's special representative Keith Kellogg may visit Ukraine this week on the eve of the deadline that Trump set for Putin, writes Kiev Post. At the same time, according to Suspilne, the exact dates of the visit have not yet been determined. Here's the report today. Kellogg to Kiev, Witkoff to Moscow. Trump to dispatch envoys to Ukraine and Russia as deadline looms. Yeah, so allegedly Keith Kellogg is going to be heading to Ukraine this week. And then on top of that, we have the other special envoy from the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. He's going to be heading over to Russia as well. So most likely going to be, setting up to get ready to hit Russia and its trading partners with these tariffs and sanctions coming this week. So probably trying to brief Ukraine a little bit on the situation, and then also trying to get Russia to agree to a peace deal with Ukraine. So let's see what happens. I think we're going to see a lot of major situations unfolding here throughout this entire week leading up to Friday, and then we'll see what Russia's reaction is going to be and if they actually get hurt by these sanctions or tariffs that come this week, as U.S. President Donald Trump is going to really try to force an end to this war. Now for Max 25, Steve Witkoff's visit to Russia is expected on August 6th. Russian media reports. Okay, so that will be on Wednesday if Steve Witkoff arrives in Russia. Allegedly, he's going to. Again, that'll be Steve Witkoff to Russia and Keith Kellogg to Ukraine this week. And maybe they'll both happen on the same day on Wednesday. I would think so, because Friday is pretty much the deadline. If we don't see an end to this war by that day, the sanctions are coming down onto Russia and its trading partners like China, India, maybe even Brazil. Now for MAX 25, air defense forces neutralized 161 out of 163 enemy UAVs at night, according to the Air Force. One UAV was hit, as well as the fall of downed ones or fragments at 9 locations in the Odessa and Kiev regions. Kinsol attack on Ukraine right now. Yeah, I heard there was some Kinsol hypersonic missiles that were being fired into Ukraine also just several hours ago, actually, prior to when I recorded this for you guys. Wasn't sure of what exactly was being hit, but aside from that, we do have reports of 163 drones that were going into Ukraine, and they're claiming they neutralized 161 out of 163 of those drones. So that is huge. Probably one of the highest success rates if that happens to be true, and we don't really have too many reports of damages inside of Ukraine other than the city of Odessa. So maybe that is true that a lot of these were taken out last night. A good majority, about close to 99%, I'd say. So that's very good to hear out of Ukraine today. Now from Kyiv Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of August 4th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In our final update of the day, Russia's losses as of August 4th, 1,010 troops, 8 AFVs, 85 vehicles and fuel tanks, 1 tank, 28 artillery systems, 77 UAVs, and 1 cruise missile. So once again, very small numbers. We've been seeing this a lot for several weeks now. Only 1 tank. I think the last time on Saturday we recorded this, it was just like 0 tanks actually, and only like 1 AFV. Looks like we did have 8 AFVs, which is a little bit higher than normal. 85 vehicles and fuel tanks, about average, what we've been seeing with those numbers. Same with troop losses, right around 1,000 we've been seeing for quite a while now. Only 28 artillery systems overnight. So yeah, not a whole lot being destroyed here on the Russia side for several weeks now. And I want to thank you guys very much for being here for today's update on August 4th, 2025 on Monday. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. Let's stay in touch with what's going to happen with the Trump administration, if they're going to slam the Russian economy along with its trading partners with some sanctions and or tariffs this week. And I'll follow that very closely. If we get more updates, I'll let you guys know. So I want to thank you very much for being here. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section, but that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.